Peace. Let me get yourself situated. Yo, happy Friday, y'all. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's staying creative as always. I try to make sure I do. In light of all the impulsive gear that's been dropping, with the MPC X, SE, the 8x10 recently, as of yesterday, the push, I believe. I've been getting a lot of hit-ups, not that my opinion matters, but like, I thought this would be a good, concise video to answer most of those questions. A lot of people has been asking me, you have a lot of gear and they're intrigued to see how the audio is routed, but why the MPC 2500? So I would, before I answer that, I would tell you why, in spite of the limitations, because like, the market is the market. They cater to the consumers 9 times out of 10. It's either you bite the bait, it's either it works for you or it doesn't work for you. And I can speak for myself. I'm pretty sure a lot can agree that there's this sense of a lot of impulsive gear syndrome to buy as much gear as we think that we need or most likely want. I noticed it with plugins as well. Plugins will be coming out either every week, every 2 weeks. So how do you know when to cut off, and how do you know when enough is enough? And that's something that you got to ask yourself as a creator. Like, is this what I need, or is this just an add-on to the impulsive gear syndrome? So to answer the question, is the limitations. The reason why I rock the 2500 is just the fact of limitations, because I found myself down a rabbit hole. I want to say 2, 3, 4, 5. Every certain period of like me making beats, because I've been making beats for years, is you will find yourself down a rabbit hole, getting more gear, getting more plugins. You think that next plugin gonna be the best plugin. You think that plugin's gonna just take your gear, your quality or your service of work to that exponential level. Whether it's 1 plugin or 10 plugins, and in most cases they are helpful. I mean, I will hope the goal is to like learn something from the other ones that you didn't use prior to that. So it definitely helps to a certain extent, but after that, it's just an impulsive kind of loop that you're going in, that you have to have it. You have to have it because it's being talked about, it's being promoted. So I started out with the MPC Studio years ago. Great. It met my needs, but from a creating standpoint, I wanted to be more challenged. I really wanted to, like, first it was just about having it, then it was about quality, and then it was about sound, and then now I'm out at this pace limitations. I never would have thought that I'll be in a day and age where I want gear specifically for limitations. Before starting out, they didn't have much, so everything that came progressively afterwards was to supersede something that came up prior. So you had an MPC 60 that only had, I don't know, I'm guessing 30 seconds of sample time. You go to the Mark II that had like a minute. I'm just throwing out numbers out here, don't quote me on it, but like now we're at a space where we're at the MPC Live, the X, the SE, and we got 4 gigs of RAM. We got infinite amount of like sound libraries, plugins, and it's all great. But to the trajectory is we wanted a MPC because we wanted standalone, and then just to be away from the computer. But now they're giving us the best of both worlds, which is great. So that's why I had the MPC Live. I still use it. I still make beats on it. But then you will find yourself overwhelmed with the amount of sounds that you have, right? So because I think I have 250 gigs of a hard drive in there, and I got like a couple plugins on the MPC Live, and I got my whole computer sound library on that MPC Live. So everything that I want to do, it's there. So if I want to do a live set, if I want to take this on a plane and jam out, I have no complaints. So then I find myself back on the SP, and then the SP Mark II comes out, and I could do everything on that thing too. So but I enjoyed having more fun on the SP than the Live because it was so concise. There was no bells and whistles. You make beats. You can put just as much sounds that you could fit on that 32 gig flash card, and you're ready to go. So I find myself being more creative on the SP. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I don't feel overwhelmed. Maybe let me scale back some. So I get my hands on the MPC 2500, and I'm like, okay, this is really a scale back. I love the workflow because I had the 1000, and as I start to create, I'm getting back into my creative space. I love it. Everything is great. The MPC 2500, you can upgrade the hard drive. You can change the hard drive. So I think the max you can go is 80 gigs. So I maxed that out. I maxed the RAM out to 128. Everything is still shaking, right? I'm cooking, I'm producing, not to the level of an MPC Live as far as like bells and whistles, but I'm there, I'm creating. But then I get back into the overwhelmed space again. Meaning that, okay, 80 gigs is a lot of shit, a lot of sounds, despite not being a computer. So I would be literally going through one shots. Okay, do I want this kick? Let me spend like 20 minutes on this. Okay, I get to the snare. Do I want another 20 minutes on this? So now I'm back down that rabbit hole trying to pick a sound that I was trying to avoid doing on the computer and then on the MPC Live. So I said, nah, something's not right, man. We gotta switch it up again. So I'm doing research on like how much sample time do I really need? You know, how many of this sounds do I really need? I read the Dilla book. I did some scavenging on the MPC forums, and people really back then didn't have these luxuries. So I'm like, yo, if I really want to stay, and this is just for me. This applies to me. You don't have to run with it, but it works for me. If I really want to just like cut all the fluff out, let's remove the hard drive for a second. Let's just remove the hard drive, and let's just sample. Okay, with this 128 megabyte RAM, I get 10 minutes of sample time on this MPC 2500. Okay. I mean, the beat I'm making ain't gonna be 10 minutes long, so what's all the extra fluff for? We're gonna use some samples. We're gonna, you know, because most of the time when the beat is done, there's unnecessary samples that we don't need, right? So that's unnecessary space, right? So let's try to scale back some. Let me give myself a challenge and see if I can really cook up without this 80 gig hard drive, right? So I yanked that out, and I was like, okay, yo, we got flashcards, right? So got not one, not two, I think I got like over like 10 flashcards, but like I was scared because I'm like, I really don't want to do this. It sounds crazy and convoluted, but I said, let me just challenge myself and try this. So I took baby steps. Let me get it real quick. I have another 2 gig over here. I got 128 gig. They rarely make these. I got this on Amazon. I think it was $100. Yeah, $100. I get 128 gigs. So I labeled them, and I have beats for I think 2 to 3 years worth on this. Still a lot of space. 128 gigs is not that. That's more than 80 gigs, right? I just really contradicting myself and get 128 gigs because it's like a comfort thing. So I get 128 gigs, still cooking up as if the hard drive is not there, which is not. And I have my sound kits on here and my beats. So I said, let's just change it up again. So I get rid of this after 2 years, because I think I had it with the 1000. So I get a 16 gig flash card. I tried making beats on here and I still have a lot of space. So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cultivate my favorite one shots, my favorite drum breaks, and I'm gonna just throw it on this thing. When it's time to cook up, we put this in and we start cooking up. Remember, 16 gigs. Remember, we focus on our limitations. You will find yourself down this ideal in this space that, okay, I'm really working with limited shit right here. I can't be just fluffing through one shots like, okay, is this gonna work? Is this not gonna work? Nah, it's either you gonna stick with it, commit to it, or forget it. So that's what I did. My favorite one shots, my favorite drum breaks on here, and this is 16 gigs. This is a lot of sounds. I think we have like over like 700 shit in here. And this is good enough. What's 700 to a terabyte worth of sounds? Like, come on, we could spend hours just going through one shots on that terabyte, and ask yourself. I'm pretty sure you have like a favorite folder, a favorite sound kit that you go to every time you make a beat, and every once in a while you might, you know, stumble upon a one shot that you had that you forgot about that you had like 5 years ago. So I purposely did that intentionally just to cut the fluff, cut the distractions, and just get down to nitty gritty and just create. We can put it on a draft on paper, and then I can come back a day or two later and be like, you know what, that hi-hat need to be different. Intentionally, I'm saying that now. I got to change that. That kick that I thought was working 2 years ago, now it's not working. Now we can go back within this and just find my favorite ones that I like. And if nothing doesn't work in this, then we pull out a vinyl record, get creative, and just try to work with those limitations that you have to really expand your horizon and creativity. That's why I did it. And this is just 16 gigs, right? Okay, great. So I'm cooking up all these beats. Again, under limitations. I want you to stay with me in the limitations part, because this is where the creativity flourishes, right? This is only drum breaks. This is only some one shots. So where I'm saving these beats to, I have no hard drive. I have no other flash cards. So I was looking online. I saw that Alchemist, he uses 4 gigs to save his beats. And I'm like, okay, let me do some research on how many beats did I save. On average, how much does it, how much space does it take up? And on average for me, it takes about like, I think 500 to 700 megabytes per folder in the structure of the MPC. So I said, you know what? I could do a 4 gig, but I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of space on that. So I purposely want to challenge myself. And this is just me being that bold. I went and got a 2 gig. I got a 2 gig, and I experimented, and I think I got like 3 months worth of beats. So I love math. So if I get 3 months worth of beats, that fills up that hard drive, that flash card, I gotta buy another one, right? Now we have to be concise with space, manageable of time, and what you're saving and what you're not saving, right? Okay, so when I do the math, if that's 3 months worth of beats in a year, that's four flash cards. So I went and bought 4 flash cards. I tried this out, and I mark it. So like right now we're in 2023. I got this flash card from January to April, 2003 beats on JJOS XL, because it always says matter, because if you switch the OS, then it can't be backwards compatible. So specifically for this flash card, it has to be on JJOS XL. It's 3 months worth of beats. When this fills up, it filled up in April, I'm on to the next flash card. This is May. I got from May all the way, April, May, June, July, up to August. And then after this, I switch up and do another one. And I love it because sometimes I might not get 4 months worth, sometimes I might get 3 months worth. So why the hell do I do all of this? Because the limitations, it makes me focus on just making beats. Anything else after the fact comes later, because now I'm really like exercising my time and how I utilize my time and how I utilize my sounds, and not just wasting time and space and energy. And I really think that really matters with all the gear that's coming out, because then you have to ask yourself, why do I need this? I mean, if you need it, you need it. I'm not gonna argue that, but I know for me, I just want to get down to nitty gritty, because I could do a fine, nifty job of mixing. So the plugin, I have pretty much all the plugins in the world, so that one extra plugin not gonna make a difference for me. So I think that's where I'm at. And a lot of people find this interesting, because they're like, in 2023, you really using 2 gigs to make beats? And I'm like, yo, they use 128 megabytes back in the day, and they was cooking up shit that was phenomenal, that we didn't even know was possible, with 30 seconds worth of sample time, and I got 10 minutes. Come on now. So I'm like, I really want to exercise that. If I can't make a dope ass beat with 10 minutes worth of sample time, you really got to question what is in the way, what distractions are in the way, at least for me. So and I've never been more happy. I've never been more focused. I've never been more tunnel vision to the way how I put out content, the way how I make beats now. If I look at my I believe it's my voice monitoring, my polyphonic of how many voices. I think the MPC got 32. If my beats start clipping, if my beats is like losing sound, if I'm doing too much, my sample time is down, I know I'm doing too much. Now I got to scale back, and it's worth it, because now you have to find a way to find a technique that works for you to make that shit work. But yeah, this is my only quirk. Obviously, if I really got to get in the studio and do some real elaborate beat making and creations and for music production, then obviously all of this is out the window. We really trying to achieve a goal here with an artist and a sound. Then the computer is at that point the forefront, or the MPC Live is the forefront, or the X, have to be it. So, but for me as a creator, as a producer, as a beat maker, whatever you want to call it, like I really value that time and precious time that I have, because I don't have all the time in the world. I got kids, I got work, so it's like, how much time, effort am I gonna spend going through one shots? How much time am I gonna spend going through break beats? Before you know it, I could spend a whole basketball game going through sounds. Like, and if I find myself doing that, then we got a problem here. Like, there's some kind of attention span that's making me overwhelmed. And I know it's the sounds that I have. I know it's the plugins. No plugin is gonna ever achieve that. No next MPC is gonna achieve that. And then the caveat to that is that you're not losing sound. You're not using sound quality that we once had. So I feel like I get the best of both worlds. I get the sound, I get the in and outputs. and I get the time just focusing on this blue hat screen, and that's it, nothing else. And when it's time to mix it down, you spend like an extra 30-40 minutes on that and get it to sound pristine. But that's just my 2 cents. Like I said, you can run with it. You can ask me questions on how I do it. I'm more than happy to help anybody that needs help with it as well. But I challenge you guys, man. Like, if you really are intrigued with this old gear, ask yourself, are you willing to take those chances and sacrifice the luxurious time that you have with a computer and an up-to-date DAW, and use the limitations to your advantage and see if you can really create without the bells and whistles. If you can and you still like the new stuff, more praise to you. I don't knock it because I still have mine. I still use it from time to time. But I just love just being away from the computer and just focusing just strictly on music, with a mixer, a turntable, and a piano, and come up with some bass lines. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Like I said, stay creative. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Have a good weekend, y'all. Take care.